Hello, welcome to the School of Life. Life is hard, but you have got to be harder. I'm Mrs. Collins, your life and technology coach. Let's get started. First off, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to my blog. Today's blog is going to provide you with a look at how an LMS looks, and it's specifically my LMS. I've created this video specifically for technology coaches to have a visual example of an LMS. You can use an LMS for your school to provide information to students, teachers, your administrators, the students' parents, etc. So it's just a way to organize your information. My LMS will include a look at my technology philosophy versus the philosophy of my school district. It will also include my acceptable use policy for students in my classroom, an example of a professional development that I provided my colleagues with. It also includes my proposal or board defense for renewing a subscription for Screencast-O-Matic. And lastly, it includes information about my my professional learning networks. So without further ado, I'm going to present to you my LMS. So when you navigate to my LMS, the very first thing that you will see is my homepage. At the top of my homepage, you will see buttons that you can click on that will take you to the different pages of my homepage. So all of the buttons includes everything that I've mentioned to you as far as the elements of my LMS. So there is the acceptable use policy, my professional development presentation and troubleshooting and tips guide, my board defense, as well as my social media presence. Starting with the homepage, I have included a link to my blog, which includes 5 to maybe 8 different journal entries. At the moment, there's only 5. So please feel free to peruse through my journal entries, my blogs, etc. And then on the homepage, there is my instructional technology vision and philosophy. My vision, I firmly believe that all students can learn. As a teacher, I strive to present engaging lessons to supplement educational content, and I will continuously incorporate technology to provide students with a greater opportunity to socially develop, critically think, and problem solve so that they can become lifelong learners. District 204's technology vision, JTHS, believes that the integration of technology is essential to motivating and engaging students in rigorous and relevant lessons. One-to-one technology provides anytime, anywhere learning and opens the doors to the critical thinking and problem-solving skills that students need to compete and contribute in our global society. By comparison, motivating and engaging students in rigorous, relevant lessons and the use of technology to allow students to critically think and problem solve are shared components within my instructional technology philosophy and JTH's District 204's technology vision. We both have goals of creating lifelong learners. To achieve this vision, I will continue to provide rich educational content through the incorporation of technology so that students are engaged, critical thinking skills are fostered, and lifelong learners are created. The next component of my LMS is my acceptable use policy for my classroom. Elements of my acceptable use policy were borrowed from the Bedford County Public Schools. I will not go through the entire document, however, I will highlight specific parts of my acceptable use policy for my class. So it should first be noted that my AUP, Acceptable Use Policy, begins with definitions. These are common terms that are repetitively referred to within the document. Key features of the Acceptable Use Policy includes a statement of expectations, internet safety instructions, information about the Google domain that we use, social media usage, which is allowed, but the use must be in compliance with the Acceptable Use Policy, the school board policy, and the Code of Student Conduct. Additionally, this AUP includes examples of unacceptable use. And lastly, the AUP includes an acceptable use review and revision section, which states that at minimum, the AUP will be reviewed on an annual basis by the Acceptable Use Committee. This will allow for any necessary changes that may come up either over the course of that year, or at very minimum, we will look at the AUP every single year and make any changes necessary. The next component of my LMS is my professional development, and specifically, this is the presentation. The presentation includes key features of Screencast-O-Matic, the cost per user or license cost. It includes different LMS systems that easily integrate with Screencast-O-Matic. The privacy policy, it complies to COPPA as well as FERPA. And just general information about Screencast-O-Matic. It also includes its usefulness for the UDL and ADA compliances. And then it includes a tutorial on how to use Screencast. Next, we have the troubleshooting and tips. So this page includes a list of troubleshooting. First off, it includes how to use Screencast-O-Matic. And as we scroll through the document, it gives us the tips for using Screencast-O-Matic. Which the tips are here. The tips, troubleshooting tips. So these are different helps that you can use while using Screencast-O-Matic. For the LMS, the next thing on the page, or the next thing that is included, is my board defense. The board defense is my proposal for renewing our subscription for Screencast. It details the objective, the benefits, as well as the costs versus benefits. And then lastly, featured on my LMS is my social media presence. So you can follow me at JossMathCollins. I do listen to different podcasts weekly, almost daily. One podcast show that I listen to is Shake Up Learning with Casey Bell. She posts a new show every Tuesday. And another show that I follow is the Self-Work Podcast with Dr. Margaret Rutherford. Her shows are published every Friday. My other presence outside of Twitter includes Facebook and LinkedIn. Here are a couple of the shows that I do follow on a almost daily basis, as well as the description. So just to recap, we have looked at my LMS. My LMS, once again, featured my technology philosophy versus my district's. It featured my acceptable use policy for my students within my classroom. It previewed the professional development that I provided to my colleagues. It gave you my sample board defense, which was to renew Screencast-O-Matic for my district another year. as well as you have seen the different um, social medias that I am a part of. So I hope that this provided you with enough information about LMSs, or at least about how an LMS could be used.